So welcome to our live stream Q&A. We are here to talk about the QMUL and DFTB PEM MSc. I have a couple of guests with me to chat about it, and we're going to be here. We will finish within 30 minutes, and basically we're happy to answer any questions that you have. We'll talk through the course, and any questions, just post a comment and we will be able to answer them. So we are streaming on YouTube, on Facebook and on Twitter. So any of these channels, you can post a comment and hopefully we should be able to see it. So let me bring on my colleague and buddy, Becky Platt.
Hello.
Hi, Becky.
Good morning.
So Becky, you are on the faculty with me on the PEM MSc, and we have just finished or just coming to the end of year one of the first cohort. So I would guess the people watching, you guys are going to be thinking about joining for September, for next year or the year after. So tell me, Becky, how's it been? How have you found the first year kicking off?
Yeah, it's been a really exciting year, hasn't it? I think one of the things that I particularly like about it is the fact that we've got a multidisciplinary faculty and multidisciplinary students. So we've got doctors, nurses and paramedics. And also we've got people joining us on the student body from all around the world. So not only are we getting kind of our own UK perspectives, but we're learning from each other across the world, in Australia, in Costa Rica, in Greece, all over the place. So it's brilliant. And we've had some expert faculty from, again, all around the world, which I think really lends something that we probably didn't get on other courses. So yeah, a great first year as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, and we'll hear from Helen, one of our students, to see if she agrees.
Well, let's hope she does.
So shall we talk first just about the structure of the course? So the course runs over 3 years. We've run the first year, and in the first and you could, after year one, you could get a postgraduate certificate. After year two, you can get a diploma. This is if you choose to leave after these time periods, or you stay for the whole 3 years and you get the MSc. So years 1 and 2 are a similar structure. So what, Becky, do you want to outline what the structure is of these?
So during the first 2 years, we have 4 modules running each year. So we've done the first 4 modules this year. So, for example, we've had our first module focused on children and young people at either extreme of childhood. So we had neonates, and we also had adolescents. Then we had in module 2, we had cardio and respiratory problems. And then we've also had children with neurological and hematological problems in this latter module. And of course, the students started their journey with us as part of a joint module, and they had a research module to kind of underpin everything that we were doing.
Yeah, that's right. So in each module is 8 weeks long. And within that, we've got the assignments, which we'll talk about in a bit, but with the main part of the course uses Circle. How's it been working on Circle?
Yeah, I think that's worked well. I think it's a different platform for communicating on. People may or may not have heard of it. I guess that was a new thing for me, and also for many of the students. And I think we'll hear from Helen in a minute about how that's worked for her. But what that allows is for interaction between us and the students and our honorary faculty, so that we're having constant discussion about various questions that we post, which enhance students' learning on across the whole breadth of whatever we're learning in that module. And that allows people to post, mini essays that demonstrate their learning in a particular area, and then some healthy discourse, discussion, and use of personal experience to kind of broaden that, to broaden the understanding.
Yeah. And then, well, this might be, maybe we'll bring in Helen at this point because she can tell us how she's been doing on Circle. So, hi, Helen, welcome.
Hi.
So you have come to the end of year one. Well done. So tell us a bit about you, what you do, what your job is.
So I'm a senior nurse at a children's A&E department just outside of London. And it's quite a busy department, and we're not a major trauma unit, but we do get a lot of trauma in our unit. And we're just a children's A&E really, and I'm a senior nurse within it. So I take charge of shifts and try and upskill the junior staff, and obviously we work towards improving the department as much as we can.
What made you decide to do the PEM MSc?
So what made me decide to do it really was just to kind of enhance my learning, to be honest, and to increase my skill set within all areas of pediatrics. And really what I wanted to try and do is try and get our department to have much more solid guidelines and protocols and things like that in place. So I just kind of wanted to be able to introduce stuff to my peers, really, you know.
Okay. And so with the first year, how have you found it balancing your work and your shifts alongside doing this?
Actually, it's been okay, to be honest. I think, you know, the benefit of having Circle, which I'd never used before, but the benefit of using it is that you can kind of use it whenever you like, really. So obviously, sometimes I am on there, you know, later on or at the weekend, or, you know, it's, you know, you have the capacity to do it when you have the time to do it, and add your time, you know, to manage your own time around it, really. Mm-hmm. I found that really beneficial, especially with the long shifts and the night shifts, so that you haven't got a specific time. And I think that's also probably the beauty of having an online program, because you can go back and watch certain things, and then you can, you know, catch up on things that you've missed potentially.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we've tried to do that model, because we know everyone's busy, and also we're all working shifts at different times. So the Circle stuff is all asynchronous, and we do have tutorials once a week for 6 weeks of the module, but they're all recorded. So if you can't attend for whatever reason, then you can catch up on the recordings. So that's good that you've been able to use that flexibly. And kind of community-wise, how have you gone kind of getting to know you? There's obviously a mix of you across different countries and specialties or disciplines. So how have you found the rest of the group?
I think they've been absolutely fantastic, to be honest with you. It's been a real pleasure to meet everybody, and they've all been so lovely. And we've all got our own little ways of communicating with each other. Which is really nice, and we're all quite supportive of one another. And if you don't want to do that, that's absolutely fine, you know. But if you do want to do that, you can do that as well, you know. So it just, you know, if you don't want to get involved in that, that's fine, you know. But that is there if you want it, and the students have been absolutely lovely, to meet.
That's good. That's nice. I think you guys have a WhatsApp group as well, don't you? That
we do.
We're not on, so I don't know what you're saying about us on there. But
no, it's really nice because you know, we can just throw questions to each other a little bit, you know, and we have a lot of social chat on there, and a lot of laughs, and a lot of little sayings to each other, you know. And if someone's having something done, we're all wishing each other well. So we actually feel like a bit of a family, even though we've not actually met face to face.
That makes me very happy to hear.
Oh, that's very heartwarming. Because I think that potentially might be a risk for, or you know, people might feel that it's a risk, you know, doing an online MSc, that sense of community is somehow reduced. But actually, you're saying that that's not been your experience.
I would say that initially I also thought that, and I was actually quite scared about how that might turn out for me, because this is actually quite a big step for me as a senior nurse. I haven't been to medical school, so it's a lot of learning for me. And it's a big step. Yeah. So, it's just been lovely to have the people around, to be able to support us, all each other, and it's just been really lovely. Yeah, really enjoyed it. I mean, when I thought I wasn't going to be able to talk to people online, and I was panicking about how I might be able to use the computer and make sure that I see everything, and that's not been the case. And actually the faculty have been very helpful when I have had those issues, and we've been able to sort them out as well. So you don't actually feel like you're away from things too much.
Good.
That's good. Shall we talk a bit about the assignments? So each module's had a mid-module assignment and an end-of-module assignment. The mid-module assignment's been worth 20% of the mark for the module, and the end-of-module assignment has been worth 80%. So Becky, do you want to talk a bit about, I don't know, what's your favourite type of assignment?
Ooh, I'm going to be honest. I actually really like the infographics. So we've done a few of those as some of the mid-module assignments. So we've asked people to design an infographic on, for example, an aspect of cardiology, say. So, for example, we had some people design some wonderful infographics on how and when to use adenosine, when to use prostin, that kind of thing. And what I love is seeing the different people's creativity there, and the different ways and in such imaginative ways that people translate knowledge for people. How have you found that, Helen? Have you enjoyed that side?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's again, it's been completely new to me. So if you have experience of that, you're absolutely going to be fine on this course. But I didn't, so it was all very new to me. And again, I'm not the best at technology, so I have had to get used to certain platforms to use, and it's all been really easy to use, and I've really enjoyed it. Actually, I've really enjoyed that aspect of it. Yeah, it's been really good fun.
Yeah, I mean, the infographics are definitely outside of a lot of people's comfort zones, but I think we've included it because it's actually I think it's a really useful way of delivering scientific information and a good skill for all clinicians to pick up. So I know it's kind of pushed you or a number of people outside their comfort zones. I hope that's a good thing. And yeah, hopefully it's skills that you will be able to use. And we had one of our assignments was an oral presentation just now as well, Helen. How did you find that?
Not gonna lie, I found that very daunting. I hate having my face on the screen, as you can probably tell. But to be honest, the whole reason I did this course was to push myself out of my comfort zone. So this is exactly what is happening to me in this course. So every time I do something else, it's pushing me out of my comfort zone. And to be fair, I went to a governance day yesterday at my hospital. We had a lot of PowerPoint going on, and it's just very interesting to see different ways of presenting information, and perhaps doing that with your peers at work as well. So that's something I'm definitely going to take forward.
We should just say that Helen is here on an entirely voluntary basis this morning.
You haven't been coached with your answers.
Even though she said that she hates having her face on screen. I mean, honestly, I think you're disproving that this morning. But I think that's one of the things about the assignments, isn't it? We're trying to make sure that actually the way that we're asking people to present information and to translate knowledge is actually useful in the real world as well. Because it's all very well writing it out for your masters, but actually the way that we need to use knowledge now at work is not necessarily the way that you'd write it for a kind of standard master's essay. And so it's nice if you've got a range of skills at the end of this that you can use back at work and in real life.
I think if you're trying to engage your colleagues as well, it's nice to have something that's a little bit different than what's normal to the standard kind of style of PowerPoint, So it's nice to be able to do that.
And on that, we'd give you guys another type of assignment, which was a blog post to write. So this was also trying to think of ways to present complex information, but in a different style from traditional academic writing. How did that go for you? How did you find it?
Yeah, I found it very interesting. I chose a subject which I didn't really know much about. And everything I do, obviously it's about learning, isn't it? So I sort of tried to push myself a little bit there to try and learn a little bit more. I've got some learning from it. Do you know what I mean? So it's at the end of the day, it was my first attempt. So I was happy with it, but I know what I can do to make it a little bit better next time. I think it was quite good. I quite like the idea of using case examples, and going through the logical sequence of looking at those kind of medical aspects in a case scenario. And I think as well, having a look at sort of the little caveats at the end is always a good idea as well, which is something I'm kind of getting a bit more used to now.
Yeah, and so some of the, just for anyone who's watching, if you've got any specific questions, if you post a comment on wherever you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we'll be able to see it, so feel free to ask. Some of the other assignments have been more traditional university assignments, so writing, there's been an essay evaluating evidence, there's been some kind of short answer questions, so we've tried to have a range of different types of assignments, and that's going to continue into year 2. We're covering the PEM curriculum basically over the 2 years. I guess, Helen, some areas are more familiar to you, so are a bit easier, and some are harder. So have you kind of adapted? Do you find that on some modules you're spending more time working on the course and others less so?
Yes, I would say I am. Yeah, because I think really as well, because I am a nurse, I do feel that I have to do some subjects, obviously I have to look into quite deeply to get a good round understanding of what's going on there. So that's been a good course for me, because it means that I can understand these things better, for my situation, my workplace. And I think, when you're doing assignments, I mean, I hadn't studied for a long time. So my last studying was over 5 years ago. So it's all been good for me to get me back into that academic style. And to improve my writing and the way that I give myself information and the way I put out information as well to my myself and my colleagues, so that's what I've enjoyed out of it.
Yeah, and really Becky, you've probably got, this combination of having nursing, medics and paramedics is really one of the things we love most about the cohort.
Yeah, because I often find I'll be reading a thread on Circle, and then somebody from a different discipline, so often nursing will bring a completely different perspective to whatever it is. I remember reading something about communication and the way that we deal with families who have been bereaved and things like that, and actually the paramedics will have had one perspective of that, clearly from the pre-hospital environment. The medical team will have had another perspective, and then the nurses will spend time with the families on a different part of their journey, and so can offer an entirely different perspective, and putting that all together is incredibly valuable, and learning from each other about the way that we do business is actually fantastic. So I love that, and I think that's one of the huge strengths of the course, actually.
What we've tried, because with the circle questions, so if there's like a question on, let's say, SVT, the students all get to choose what angle they're going to pick to delve more deeply into it and answer the question. So if you're interested in the starting dose of adenosine, you could go off and look at that. If you're interested in whether we need to dunk a baby in a bucket of ice, you can go and look at that. If you're interested in explaining to the family about what's going on. So it should be able to be adapted to wherever you work, whatever your interest is, and whatever you want to go and look up more evidence on. And I think, Becky, like you say, that's just brought a huge range of learning for us on the faculty as well, to be able to see everyone's contribution. So that's really made a difference.
I would just say on that note as well that you obviously get on each module you get like a lead person for each module who comes along. So you had your like hematology lead, and we had our respiratory lead and neurology lead, and they've been really brilliant to talk to on the tutorials. And it's really nice because we've been able to discuss certain treatments or types of ventilation that we've been using in the ED, and the cost effectiveness of it all, and why are we using this, and that's been really quite nice to be able to pull that all together.
That's right.
Yeah,
we've had honorary lecturers from various specialties and various places around the world, and each of those people are experts in their field, so we're hearing from them their perspectives on stuff that they do every day to a very high level, and they're able to further the discussion for students, and equally the students can ask them stuff that they generally don't get to ask those experts in real life. So I think it's incredibly valuable, and I think that they kind of push things a little bit further in people's thinking, because they can ask those additional questions that we may not even have thought of.
Yeah, agree. Because we are the people. Me, you, and Danny. We all work in PEM, and so it's been really good to bring in people who know much more than us about the specialist topics. So that's been good. So, Helen, you finished year one. What are your thoughts on what's still to come?
So a nice summer holiday, I think, is what's still to come.
Yep.
And then probably a little bit more knuckling down and doing some more studying. So
So year two is basically the same structure, so 4 modules on covering the rest of the curriculum, and year 3 is a bit different. So it's a scientific paper, and the idea is it's not the same as like a full dissertation, but the idea is for you to be able to write a paper that could be published in a journal, and that you'd be able to present at a conference. So it will be to use all the skills that the students have learned over the first couple of years, and kind of put that into something that will be useful to your practice.
Yeah, so I mean, I would love to be able to do that, and I'm just hoping that I can get myself up to that point, really, because that is something that I not necessarily publish it in a journal, but I would just love to be able to do that. And I think the obviously the beginning, where we've had some little bit of research that we've looked into, and obviously as you go through the modules, you're constantly looking at research, and you're learning more and more and more about how to appraise research, and for me that has been a massive learning curve, but it's one that I'm starting to sink into my brain slowly, but it's definitely got much better than it was at the beginning of the year. So I could even tell you what a forest plot was now. So that to me is is a big move forward.
I think it can be, it can be daunting at the beginning, because we're asking you to go away, look up information, work out what to do with it, and how to kind of collate it. But we do that. You do that so often on Circle that eventually that just becomes what you're used to. You get used to looking up, evidence, and deciding how to apply it to your practice.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed that.
We've got a comment here, which I'll just put up there, from Tom, who's another one of our students. So he said, thank you, Tom. Highly recommend the course. Innovative and fun, lots of practical everyday knowledge and covering a relevant curriculum. Yeah, so we've kept it to map to the college curriculums from EM and PEDS, so that we're kind of covering all the bases. Okay, Becky, I think we'll probably wind it up there. Is there anything that we haven't covered? I think we've probably managed to cover. So just Danny will post a link to the PEM MSc webpage on QMUL, but you can find it on QMUL. That's got information about how to apply. And you guys can contact us. You can email us through the website. We're on Twitter, obviously. Chris is just adding one thing. She has said, Chris is our wonderful admin support. One accolade I can add is that everyone that originally started on the PG cert has now upgraded to the DIP or the MSc. Okay, so no one was put off after 1 year, which we will take as a very good sign, and that's good. So people are feeling like they're getting stuff out of it, which is really helpful. So that is probably a good place to end. So thank you very much, Helen, for joining us. Thank you, Becky, on the course.